What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza, here with a brand new video for you rascals and rapscallions out there. It is day 8 of 12 of our Friday the 13th marathon, where I review a Friday the 13th movie every day leading to the 13th, where I'm going to do a complete franchise ranking. So today we're going to talk about 1989's Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan, aka Jason is on a damn boat. So this is the last film done by Paramount before they moved to New Line Cinema, and one way to go out. What a hell of a way. Anyways, we jump right into this one with the opening credits, which is one of the few things I like about this movie. It's the first time I believe we get an opening credits without the black background, just with the plain white text. We have actually some pretty cool shots of New York City, making it look really grimy and whatnot. And I'm just a sucker for movies shot in New York City, especially back in the 70s or 80s. And it's accompanied by like a really cool rock and roll hair metal song. And then we lead into this couple that's on this little houseboat going past Camp Crystal Lake. And the guy ends up telling his girlfriend the story of Jason Voorhees. And I actually do like how he tells the story. It's reminiscent of Paul, kind of telling it like a ghost story. And he scares the shit out of his girlfriend. And while he's going out to grab a prop mask and knife to scare his girl, this is when his anchor of his boat goes down and hits like an electrical line that hits Jason and electrifies him and Frankenstein's him again. So we have zombie Jason again. Or is it Frankenstein's monster Jason, technically, the way he keeps getting brought back. But he hops on the boat, takes both of these guys out, takes the guy with a spear gun. The girl like hides in this little cubby and Jason comes and kills her, which is the dumbest shit. It's like, why not just dive into the water and swim away? Get the fuck out of there. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. We hop into the movie here where the plot is it's a bunch of graduating high school students are going to go on like this cruise, this big boat on the way to New York City to celebrate and everything. They are chaperoned by this teacher, this professor, Charles, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll just call him the professor from here on out. The guy's a complete ass clown, as you'll see through the rest of this movie. And we meet our final girl, Rennie, who is the niece of this professor. And she's accompanied by another teacher who's nice and supportive of her. We find out early on she has some baggage, some shit that happened in the past that we will find out later on. Some baggage with the final girl, which happens a lot, more or less than a lot of these movies. But we get on the boat and meet her boyfriend, Sean, who is the son of the captain of the ship, who is really trying to push him into being a captain just like him. But you could tell Sean isn't really into it at all. And this is pretty much the only character development we really get in the entire movie. That Rennie has a backstory, a dark past, something that she's hiding, where she's getting these visions the entire time, and Sean is just not what his dad wants him to be. And we meet a bunch of other characters. Nobody really memorable. The only thing we really have going with these characters is it's like late 80s cheese, which I really appreciate. And the fact that they're trying to take this into a different setting, I can appreciate, but there's not much more likable with this one, if I'm being quite honest. I'll say that right off the rip. I probably don't have much to say about this movie. But Jason reaches onto the anchor, climbs up on the rope, and now he's on the boat. And he is killing these teens off one by one. We have, our generic characters like we always do. We have the bitchy girl who's friends with the nerdy girl who's got a scholarship and everything. And she's trying to turn her wrong by doing cocaine in the bowels of the boat. We got the nerdy guy who's walking around with a video camera the whole time. Then all of his friends. We have one of the most likable characters in here, Julius, which is like a boxer, which they have like a boxing ring down in the not a ring, but they have like a place to practice, and it shows like he's a really good boxer knocking this other guy out. I do like the opening montages on the boat of all the kids playing shuffleboards to 80s music. It's funny that like the montages and shit are some of the stuff I like most in this movie, but yeah, the MPAA really tore this one apart. This is the worst they've done with limiting the franchise, in my opinion. Not very many really good kills or anything, but I mean, we got Kane Hodder back again, so that's a plus. And he looks badass. He's going around killing all these kids. Nothing too special. I like that they have this girl in the beginning. She's like playing electric guitar, the Flying V guitar on top of the building. I have a really cool t-shirt that I wore in the first review. I should have wore for this review, but my continuity with my shirts is not very well. I wore a Halloween 3 shirt when I reviewed part 3 of Friday the 13th. But anyways, I like this girl. She goes down in the bowels of the ship to practice guitar, play guitar. Oh, wicked acoustics down here. And I do like the off-screen kill of because Jason swings a Flying V guitar and hits this girl right in the face. I can't complain about Jason killing somebody with a Flying V guitar. In the way it's like from her point of view hitting her and then you see the blood splatter. That wasn't that bad. We get some other kills in here. A dude getting thrown into an electrical box and killed. dude getting thrown off the boat, people getting speared. When the bitchy girl eventually gets killed in the long run, I like her kill. She gets taken into the bathroom and taken out, thrown into a mirror, and he takes like the shard of glass, stabs her with it, kills her, and her screams of fear are pretty brutal, I won't lie. And then we got her friend gets killed on the dance floor with teleporting Jason. That's not too bad. And I know it seems like I'm just jumping around, but there's not really much to this. They all get on there, and there's, I mean, maybe like another layer to the story is the kid's dad gets killed with a machete to the throat. His throat gets sliced, and now Sean has to take over, driving the boat to shore, where Jason ends up ripping the cords out so he can't communicate to the other boats in the sea and whatnot. Which I guess Camp Crystal Lake connects to the ocean, by the way. That's another thing there. So, and this whole time, Rennie is having like these flashbacks. Like, we'll find out later what it was. I'll just say now, she has a flashback later in the movie that her uncle like tossed her overboard in a boat when she was a kid to teach her how to swim. And kid Jason, like in part one, is pulling her under the water. And she's been haunted from that. So this whole time she's having like visions of like blood coming out of the sink. And, you know, seeing Jason and everything, like, through, like, the windows of the boat and everything. Kid Jason, that is. And it's, like, tormenting her. Easy for me to say. But I wonder why. Why does Kid Jason in this movie look like the fucking Toxic Avenger? It looks so bad. It looks terrible. And I will say, though, with Rennie, she is a charming girl in this movie. You do care for her. So, like, she is likable. And she's got a dog with her and everything. Who doesn't like the dog? But, you know, and Sean's a little bland, but the two of them, they're okay. Rennie's better than Sean, but they're two decent, likable characters. And the chaperone teacher, she's not too bad either. Other than that, everybody's pretty shitty in this movie. You don't really care for anybody, but we lead up to the point where Jason is just killing people. And one critique I always had, it's like, I hate how I get like this with movies, where I'm like, how is he on the boat, like, and not just killing everybody? I mean, maybe he did, because a lot of the extras didn't make it to the end, so maybe there's stuff we didn't see in the movie. He's off just slaughtering everybody. But, like, when you put people in closed places, it's like, one of my favorite movies, like Night of the Demons. I got the 4K coming. Should be here today by the time this video comes out, actually. But, like, in that movie, they're trapped in one small house. It's like, you don't really have anywhere to run. And I feel the same way with this, but then I got to remind myself, it's like, well, you're talking about a house full of demons or a zombie killer Jason who climbed onto the boat. It's like the whole plot is pretty unrealistic for me to criticize like little things. Does anybody else do that when they watch movies, or is that just me? Anyways, there's a point after the dad gets killed where Julius and a bunch of his friends grab a bunch of weapons and take off to try to kill Jason, where they're unsuccessful. Everybody gets slaughtered off to the point where the whole boat starts flooding out, where we have the last survivors hop onto a lifeboat to try to make it to New York. We got Sean, Rennie, the nice teacher, the dick professor, and Julius. Those are our final 5 people. They make it to Manhattan finally, so it's false advertisement in a way. They're not in Manhattan until the final act, but the shots they get, which they shot this a lot in Vancouver, British Columbia, but there's some pretty good shots when they get there. This movie, by the way, is just a little too long. Like, the scene where they're rowing the boat to Manhattan feels like it takes forever. And by the time they get there, Jason pulls himself right up the rope, and he's following them into Manhattan. They get in there, and right off the bat, they get mugged pretty much by these 2 junkies that you see in the opening credits. And they kidnap Rennie and take off. And the stupidest shit, the professor's like, the best thing we should do is split up. I go, you guys just pretty much got mugged by knife point, gunpoint, or whatever, and your choice now is to split up. You should probably stick together, you know, strength in numbers, especially like in this scenario. So we get to one of the weirdest scenes in this movie where Rennie gets taken captive by these 2 junkies, where she's about to get sexually assaulted, pretty much raped by this junkie. And like, he injects her with some kind of drug that makes her hallucinate, which is really fucked up because we haven't really seen anything this dark since the flashback in part 3. So it's kind of weird to see this, and it's even weirder for Jason to come up, which I understand he's going to kill all 3 of them, but he takes out the 2 junkies first, giving Rennie enough time to run. But it's like, I find it an odd choice to give Jason a moment of sympathy when you're trying to portray him as such like an evil entity or whatnot, which that's going to happen later in this film series, which we're going to get to. But yeah, they all get back together after these junkies were killed. Actually, Julius ends up, I'll get to this in a minute, because this is one of the best parts. So, the professor ends up getting killed the same way that Bad News Cruz did in the last one, in a very unsatisfying way. He runs from Jason, runs into a building. Jason teleports, throws him out a window. I will respect the fact that they keep going back to somebody getting thrown out a window or Jason bursting through windows. That is a staple of the series, and I'll never not get sick of that. One thing that will never go wrong with Jason in any of these films, good or bad, they always have really good shots of him straight up like menacing, busting through doors or windows. I'll give him that. But the professor gets thrown out the window and just like his head dunked in slime until he's killed, like in this industrial barrel. And then one of the best parts of the movie, Julius is running from Jason and they go to the top of this roof, and Julius is really good at boxing, right? So he squares up with him like, let's go, motherfucker. And I counted, and I lost count because the body shots were quick. It's easily over 50 punches to Jason, just boom, 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 until he punches himself out. And he says, Jason, give me your best shot. Jason grips him by his collar like a hockey fight. One right hook, his head goes flying off the roof. That's fucking awesome. I love that shit. So, anyways, they hop in a car. They steal this police car. More visions of kid Jason and everything. And honestly, I'm reviewing this after I watched this a couple nights ago. I don't remember off the top of my head how the girl teacher that died, which I should because she was a likable character. I'm sure it wasn't nothing special like a lot of these kills. But we go into the final scene where Sean and Rennie go into the sewers to run. And there's this guy down there, and they ask him, he's like a worker, can you get us out of here? Sure, just follow me. You better hurry up because underground, all the tunnels flood with toxic waste at midnight. Everybody should know that shit. So because apparently all the sewers in New York flood with toxic waste. He says, we better hurry. It floods in 10 minutes. And that got me thinking, another reason of like my stupid thoughts in movies like this, 10 minutes. You should be out of there like an hour ahead of time. 10 minutes. What if you like rolled your ankle or something? You know what I mean? What if you couldn't get the opening? You couldn't get out of the way you got in or something? That seems very unsafe. Very unsafe work conditions. But Jason catches up with them, kills the worker. He chases after them. Rennie throws like a barrel of toxic waste in his face, and his mask comes off, and his face is melting to reveal the worst look of Jason in the entire franchise. This looks so fucking terrible, so corny. It's almost unwatchable. And then the whole tunnels flood as they climb up this ladder to get away. And Jason just fucking gets melted and everything, and it's fucking weird. He's screaming out "mommy" in a mom's voice, and when the water washes away, it's like a kid Jason in his underwear and everything, and now Jason's dead. And that's the end of the movie. They make it up top, and the dog returns, and everything's happy again. That's the end. I mean, what else to say about this movie? I used to think I had like a soft spot for this movie. This cover is actually the screensaver screen on my cell phone. It looks cool, good cover, I'll give it that. But what the hell is going on here? I never really minded that he was on the boat most of the movie. It is what it is, but this one didn't do it for me. It's hard to say what was better, this or the last one, 7 or 8. So I guess that you guys will have to tune in for the rankings. But the best parts about this movie are just the setting. I do like that they tried something ambitious. It is fun that it is on a boat. That's cool. And though they weren't in New York a lot, I like that they were there in the opening montage, and at least we got it in the last 15, 20 minutes. And there's a lot of funny jokes when Jason first goes into Manhattan. We got that iconic shot of him in Manhattan. That might be the best part of the movie visually. Like I said, some of the best parts of these films are just visually with Jason. And we got some fun stuff with him throwing people around in a restaurant at one point, walking down the street, and kicks the punk's radio, and they go to fight him with a switchblade, and he pulls up his mask and kind of scares him off just from the look of his face. If it looked anything like it did in the end when it popped off, I'd be scared too. Looked like shit. But I don't hate this movie, but I don't love it. Just felt cheap, and it ran probably 20 minutes too long. This was way too long. But like I said, characters kind of sucked. Kills sucked. Ran way too long. Just not very good. One of the worst. The worst box office out of all these movies, actually. But there are some good things in it. Like I said, they tried something different. I'd rather have them change the setting than make the antagonist or whatever a psychic 17-year-old girl. That's just kind of stupid to me. But I like the setting that they did have in New York when they were there. I like that they were ambitious enough to try something different with New York and on a boat. I like some of the rock and roll music they used. Kane Hodder and the stunts that he did do, not as many as the last film, were pretty nice. I did like that. And you just got to appreciate Kane Hodder, the way he plays the role. Kane Hodder, just like the last movie, is the highlight. Which, like I said, everybody seems to think, when they think of Jason, this is like the Jason they have in their head is Kane Hodder, which is kind of a damn shame that he had to come along in the series when it was really floundering, you know what I mean? But other than that, another good popcorn movie. Like I said, you can really tell how good a movie is or not by if you can watch it by yourself and be entertained, or if it's just a popcorn movie. This is nothing more than that. This wouldn't be bad just to throw in the background with some of your friends. It's okay in that sense, nothing special. But yeah, that's it. Other than that, tomorrow is going to be interesting because we get into where it really gets off the wall, and I'm even curious myself when I'm say I can't remember last time I seen Jason Goes to Hell. So tomorrow, make sure you tune in. Jason Goes to Hell. And we got 4 more movies left in this. So, final stretch. Let's do this, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Blood, Guts, Gore. I'll check you guys next time.